Good afternoon, good morning, good day, good week. Whatever time you're watching, this is Chris, the Dating Doc, with the Dating Doc podcast. And we're going to talk about the date. That's what we're going to talk about today, the date. And you're probably wondering, okay, well, what do you mean the date? Well, we talk about swiping and we talk about texting and messaging. And that's actually what dating's become more of. That's kind of been the focus is all the online stuff and all the digital stuff. But what about the date? Or as they used to call it, courting, right? That's a lost word that's been replaced with catfishing and zombieing or submarining. All this swipe left, swipe right. But what about the date, the actual date? Okay, so we're gonna try to make this a little bit condensed. Originally, I was gonna make this a little bit longer, but we're in ADD land nowadays. People can't pay attention; they can't even steal attention. So, two ways we're going to format this podcast. We're going to go into some fun dating ideas. Right, I got 3 fast ones. I'm going to hit you with some fast ones. Just throw them at you. And then we're going to go into some components that are needed for any date you go on. This is important, people. I want you to listen in. First off, we got to introduce and we got to announce our $25 Amazon gift card winner from the last podcast. All you got to do is listen in to these podcasts. We do this for a reason. We want to increase our viewership and our subscribers. But you know what? You get a lot more value out of just listening to the podcast, whether we have a contest or not. But Andrew, you are our winner. You had a really fun dating idea, which is getting all the change together, going to a Coinstar machine, and using whatever cash comes out of that on a date. Now, I recommend this as more of a second or third date when you're with someone and, say, hey, look, let's get our loose change together. Let's see what kind of money comes out of this. And that is our date. Whether we drink and we drown with $23 or we go out there and use it for a meal or we go on a picnic. No one does that anymore, but we should go on a picnic and, hey, we've bought some bologna and even a cheap bottle of wine, and here we are with those $23. So, Andrew, you are our winner, $25 Amazon gift card. There's a lot you can do with that, so have fun with that. Appreciate your support, Andrew, and everyone else listening in. So, 3 dating ideas. We're ready? Are we ready? We're ready. We're about to launch this. Okay, let's go with number 1. The number 1 dating idea that I think will just take you from the basic, let's go to lunch, let's go to Starbucks. People don't really care about how they dress anymore. You just kind of like show up, But we want to get into some creative ideas. So first idea is networking event. What do I mean by this? I mean, go to a networking event. If you're a professional, go out there and you have to be on. You have to put on that networking face. But if you're both professionals, this gives you a time and a moment to see what that person's all about in a social setting like that. Are they the overly obnoxious type? Are they the type that, name drops for the right reasons? Or do they name drop to gossip? Are they the kind of person that interrupts conversations? Or are they more of a positive person that's trying to help other people build connections and leads? Right? So, and it's a team approach. If you two get along, use that to get leads for each other. Bring your business cards, have fun with it. It's a great excuse for the guys that get dressed up, right? You can't get away with just the shirt and the shorts. You got to put on a button down or something. So go out to one of these events. Every big city has a Toastmasters chapter. That's a good way to network. You got BNI. You got Chamber of Commerce events. These are all happening throughout the month. All you have to do is Google them and use that as a date. Say, you know what? Got it. Yeah, we could have gone the whole Starbucks deal, lackadaisical date. Let's go to this Chamber of Commerce event. They got a little good guest speaker there that I really want to listen to, and it'd be a good experience for us. So try that as a dating idea. Second one we got here is a kid date. Obviously, these are for single parent types. You're going to go out there and grab some random kid to do a kid date. That's a whole nother political talk, but we won't get into that. So, kid date. Now, first things first, keep in mind, be mindful about the kid date. It can be planned the smart way. This doesn't mean it has to be this intimidating, elaborate event, this life-shaking event where now you're introducing your kids to someone new and whatnot. No, it doesn't have to be like that. A kid date could be at your local Chuck E. Cheese type of place, and you can do it in a group setting. You can bring a friend along, bring your favorite gal friend to go gauge what this new guy is all about. That way it's less intimidating. It kind of dilutes that intimidation. Go out there and go to an outdoor patio that's kid-friendly. And just say, hey, look, mommy's got some new friends, and they got kids, and you can all play together. All right, so you can make it a good event. If it's a group type of setting, even better. I obviously recommend as a second or third date, it'd be a little bit inconsiderate to do it as a first date, because I think what that means is it just has a lot of mixed signals there. It says, hey, look, I want you to meet my kids from the get-go. That's a little bit much. But again, eventually having that group type of setting as a kid date, it lets you see their parenting skills. You can have fun with it. You can text each other across the little patio and say, damn, you're looking good. And I'm glad the kids are getting along, kind of deal. Kids are just too busy playing, especially depending on the age. They're just busy playing. And in a group setting, they're not thinking twice. Trust me, they're not thinking twice and saying, oh, mommy's new boyfriend. No, not at all. In a group setting, then you don't have to pinpoint that. And it's great because I know for a fact I love being with my daughter. I love the presence of my daughter. But I know companionship takes time, and I got to get to know someone. And do I really want to be surprised by their parenting skills later on? No. Let's eventually get that kid date going. Nothing wrong with that. As long as you mindfully plan it, there's nothing wrong with that. Number three. This is more of an idea to take to a date where all you really need is something to write with and a napkin or piece of paper. So this is the way it works. For example, I asked a woman across the table, I say, look, I want you to guess my favorite color, and I'm going to write it down on a napkin. She's going to write down her guess. I've written down my favorite color. I'm covering up my side of the napkin. She's covering hers. And on a count of three, we unveil our answer. So my favorite color is red. And she guessed blue, turns it around. Oops. Whoa, man, you got it wrong. What the heck? What are you thinking? Do I look like a blue guy? Conversation starter. It's fun. It's competitive. And it really spruces up the coffee date or the lunch date or even the dinner date. And it's fun because then you can just switch on up. Say, you know what? I'm going to guess your favorite color, or I'm going to answer a trivia question. And if you know the answer, then obviously, you're going to write that down, and the other person writes down their response. And it's fun because, again, it gets things going. You get away from the 21 questions and the awkward silences, which it's crazy because I coach people on how not to have these awkward silences. Yet I'm so surprised that professionals from all walks of life go through these. So try that as an idea. Do some trivia on a napkin and answer each questions and guess. It's fun, and get away from the initial silliness of it, because what else is silly is being awkwardly quiet or being so formal during the date that you can't let yourself, you can't let your hair down. That would suck, right? You don't want to consider this idea, but you'd rather go through the awkward dates and whatnot. Don't do that. So let's review that. Okay, we got the networking event, we got the kid date, and then we got this what I call napkin trivia, napkin Q&A, and I think that'd be a great way for you guys all to spruce up the dating environment. I want all of y'all, as I said in another short video, I want all of y'all to be your own ambassadors of a good dating environment. And part of that is making sure the date is taken care of. So I'm going to go through these quickly. These components are needed during the date. Okay, make sure that you keep mind of what you need during the date. Okay, so first off, it needs to be safe. And I mean mentally and physically, it needs to be safe. Make sure there's public lighting. Make sure there's people around. Last thing you need to worry about, even if 100% this is a guy or gal you're interested in, attracted to, safety has to be there. And I'm going to confess something here. I have tested out that theory of wondering, would a woman realistically go to my house on a first date? And yes, that's happened. That has happened. And I didn't call them out on it. Obviously, they're safe, there wasn't anything that I didn't put them in any kind of predicament. But I wanted to know if this was possible. If some women are would they put themselves in that danger? And I tell you right now that, obviously I'm a man that's very respectful of that. I know that safety would be a big thing for my daughter as much as it would be for my sisters and other females in my life. But as a date coach, you often want to learn those new angles and viewpoints. And I'm wondering, I've had women that have come to my house on a first date, and I not to be confused with like a something casual. First date was actually showing up to my house, and that could have gone bad if it was another man. It really could have. So make sure the safety's there, both mentally and physically. Mentally meaning that you're relaxed, you feel safe. This person is not the one that's going to rattle off politics you don't agree with, or some sort of like social issues that are just going to make the date go wrong. And that takes a little bit of chemistry building in the beginning. So safety is first. Creativity. Okay, we went into all these dating ideas. Make sure your date's creative. If you really care about that person, and if you're a woman, don't be on the receiving end of that creativity. Don't think, let's see what this guy's going to do. How can this guy impress me? You know what? Sometimes you can be in charge of that as well. You can both be in charge of that creativity for a date. Okay? Don't just say, what can he do for me? What's that song say? What can you do for me lately? Dun, 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 dun. Anyways, so yeah, make sure it's creative. If you can, make sure it's inspiring. If you wanted to catch a speaker that you're both been wanting to watch for a while, maybe an author that's coming to your city, and you both enjoy the book, well, you know what? That's an inspiring date. That leaves something. When you come home, you're like, you know what? That was different. I was inspired by that date. So keep that in mind. Make it inspiring as much as you want to make it creative. And the last component, which is really important, and I coach a lot of clients on this, is have an objective, have a goal. A lot of folks go into these dates saying, well, I'm just going to throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. That is their attitude. I'm going to throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Go on all these coffee dates, all these lunch dates, and whatever sticks, then, that's how it works. No, come on now. Make sure you have an objective. If you're going on a date and you say, you know what, my objective is I want to find out if this person is just as funny as they are in over online as they are in person, or my objective is to gauge if this person is a family person, if they're well studied, and if they can avoid talking about sex. All right, and that last one seems like so simple, but maybe that's your gauge. Maybe you're like, hey, all these guys have just been talking about sex all the time. Let's see if he can set himself apart. And you can think about these goals while you're driving to your date, while you're driving to the restaurant or the venue you're going to. Think about what your goals are. If you don't have any goals, you're just wasting time, money, and gas. So again, I repeat, make sure it's safe, make sure it's creative and inspiring. They kind of go hand in hand. And have an objective. That way you allow for better chemistry building. Okay, don't get away from a mental checklist, but just have an objective. Say, you know what, this is what I want to come out of the date, and then just have fun with it. So that's it for now. We are gonna talk about feminism next, and more specifically, we're gonna get into a little bit more news references and getting some viewpoints from all of you folks on feminism, if it's helping, hurting dating, and what does that mean for the future of dating, companionship, and marriage. So hope you enjoyed this. This was more of almost a helping type of podcast instead of through the conceptual part of it. Instead of having something super controversial or anything of that sort. So hope you're having a good week. I just came back last night from Austin, where I was at the Logic concert. Logic's a great hip-hop artist, not a mumble rapper. He's a great artist, and I recommend you listening to some of his tracks if you haven't yet. So thank you for your time, and this is Chris, the DatingDoc, signing out.